Hey guys, Josh here with Redneck, Greenthumb. My goal for this channel is to help you become just a little bit more self-reliant. Today I'm going to be changing out the rear axle seal and bearing on my 03 Ram 1500, and I figured I'd bring you along. So let's get into it. Okay guys, so I'm going to be replacing the rear axle seal and rear bearing on an 03 Ram 1500. These will be lubricated by the oil in the diff, so they have a little bit of grease in them, but from what I understand, the oil in the diff lubricates them, so you don't need to pack them. You're gonna need a slide hammer, maybe a seal puller. You're gonna need fluid to replace in the diff, usual tools, and maybe something to pound these back in. So this, I have a 46mm socket, and if the slide hammer doesn't work, I'll use a Pitman arm puller. I already have the truck up off the ground, as you can see. It's already on jack stands. Right here, as you can see, we're leaking diff fluid, so that won't pass safety. It's a very slow leak. It stopped, well, it's slowed down at least, because it's not as bad as it was, but like, it's holding fluid, but it shouldn't be leaking. And I'm crossing the country, and I don't want it to go on me while we're halfway across the country. So let's get started. Break the lugs loose. It shouldn't be on there that tight. Next, we're going to want to remove the caliper. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. Let's get a little bit of leverage on this thing. There's the low one. Alright, got the Johnson bar, or the breaker bar, on there, and kicked it with my foot. There, that's a loose caliper. Now this is the emergency brake on the back here, so it's probably got a drum in there. I think it's got drum brakes on the inside of this rotor, but that's all right. I'm just gonna get this shit pulled off. We don't want something to hang these guys, so the last thing you want to do is make more work for yourself by breaking a connection on your brake lines, because then you're going to be messing around with your brake lines trying to repair them. So don't make more work for yourself. Hook something up, and always hang your calipers so that you're not breaking them. Never hang it off your hose here. These are nice and new, so they come off nice and easy. Yeah, see? It's just right full of gear oil. I can smell it. Look at that. 3 cans of almost empty brake clean in here, so might as well use it. Clean off the pads a little bit and all the shit in there. Now that we got all that figured out, we have to pull that diff cover off. Alright guys, so get your container ready. We're going to break all these bolts loose, and then we're going to remove all of them except for these 2 top ones. Half inch. Here it is. Oh. There it is. Break them. Loosen them all, and then we're gonna leave the top 2 on so that they act as a hinge, so that we can pop the bottom open and drain this thing. Set all these off to the side. Set them right there. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 total. So we're gonna loosen these guys up a bit and hit it with a pry bar. Just like anybody else is gonna tell you, try not to mess up the face of this cover or the face of the diff. Maybe I need a bigger pry bar. No, there we go. There it is. Can you see that? That's dark. That's from a lot of the dirt getting in where that bad seal is. Oh, whoever pulled this off last. Wow, yeah, whoever pulled this off last used a lot of RTV. Too much almost. It actually doesn't look bad. It looks really good in there. I don't see anything on the magnet. Let's make sure the magnet's still. Oh yeah. Microscopic. It's a little shiny, but it's not bad. I'm surprised. Let's put this thing in neutral. Make sure she's not rolling anywhere. And shut it off. New can of brake clean. Spray some stuff out here. This rear end might have been rebuilt actually. So now you're going to want to pull this little bolt here. That's your pin bolt. Well, it feels like 5/16, but it's pretty sure it's metric. So, but 5/16 works. Let's pull this pin bolt out. A little bit of wear on that, but what can you do? Okay, so there's the pin bolt. I'm gonna roll this tire a little bit so that I can reach in under and push, try to push that pin at least. Alright, if you want to play that game, we will play that game. Okay, good. Try and push it in it. There we go. Came loose that time. Alright, reach in there and push it out. You might have to throw the pin bolt in there and give it a little pull. There we go. Now I'm gonna put it like this so that I remember exactly how it went in, because you should technically put it all back together the way that it came out. Now there's going to be a C-clamp in there. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to need to go get a flashlight. There's a C-clip in there, and it's going to come in when I push this. Yeah, there it is. So I got that pushed. And we'll rotate this a little bit so that I can pull that C-clip out of there. I'm gonna go grab a magnet. All right. Should maybe clean off your magnet beforehand, so there's not a bunch of little metal chunks in it. Pull that axle in a bit more. Now, I know it's not going to be easy to see it. I need to angle there. There we go. There. That holds your entire axle inside your diff, so don't lose it. And if this fails, your whole axle's coming out. All right, we can push that axle back out, go out here. Oh, don't mind me, I'm just climbing around. And there we go. Try not to let it slide across the base of the axle there, or you know what I mean. There we go. There's the axle out. Now we need to clean all this up a bit, so there, that's a seal puller. I have pulled seals before without one of these. You just end up destroying the hell out of it. So let's see if we can do this without wrecking it too bad. Oh, no. She's pretty toast. There we go. There we go. Oh yeah. Didn't like that very much, did it? I don't know if that looks like some RTV or what that is. Bearing still looks kind of good, but I am going to replace it. There, I just wrecked the bearing. Yeah. Ouch. I don't have an actual bearing puller, so
last thing you want is for pieces of this bearing to roll down into that diff. Okay, so
it's not good. You don't want that.
And you can see the numbers on the outside here. Numbers are on the outside, meaning the numbers will be on the outside when we put the other one in. Just fish around in there. Make sure I didn't miss any. Oh yeah, that's not good. That's all rust from the outside of this. That's all rust, yeah, that's no good. That's from this old bearing seal. Here, I guess we'll see if this works. She's coming. There it is. Give her a wipe and then lube it up. Throw a little bit on the back of this. So that old bearing came out with the numbers on the face, no numbers on the back, so they're going to be facing us. Okay. Of course. Let's clean this thing up a bit. And slowly start pounding in. Seems to be in. If it's not, then I guess we'll have a couple issues. On the way to Alberta. So that one's in. Wipe that. Grab the seal. Of course, as always, lube everything up. Throw some lube around the edge of that. We are going to want lube on the inside of that also. So there, it's flush. and inserted a tad bit. I hope this thing's facing the right way. Might have been pushed up a bit. Put some new clean oil on there. Let's clean this guy up a bit. Especially down where the bearings go. There's no wear on where the bearings go. That's nice. Alright. Let's lube this. Let's lube this up a bit. Alright. Alright guys, let's try and get this in there. So you're going to get it in, you're going to have to try and feed it into the inner bearing. So let's get it in there and try and feed it in to the inner bearing. You'll hear it clunk. Okay, that's not the inner bearing now. There. We got it in there. Fed into the splines. Alright, let's go take a look underneath. Let's try and push that axle in a bit more. It's way too much. But that's going to help us get that C-clip back on there. Okay, can you guys see that? So the C-clip's going to go back in there, but let's clean it up a bit. Should be wearing gloves for that because that stuff is horrible for your skin. Alright, let's place that on the end. And let's play doctor here. Let's get that guy. There we go. C-clips in. Let's get the pin back in. Get all the dirt and grime off the pin. I believe it went in this way. We don't want this thing to go in dry, so let's put some oil on her. Okay. There it is. Get this pin straightened out. What do we got here? Alright, so I'm just going to use the back of my ratchet and hit it with my hand like this. Okay. Okay, so I had to wiggle it back and forth in order to get this pin to start moving back in. Now let's see, let's spray this pin off. Beauty. Alright. So now I start threading this guy in. But before I get it completely threaded in, I'm going to hit it with a little bit of thread locker because I do not want it to come undone. Give it a good dab there. Screw your lid back on so it's not hardening in the bottle. Alright. Start screwing her back in. There's my boy calling me for dinner, so I better get this bolt back in and go eat. Alright, buddy, I'm coming. These videos are for that little guy. He doesn't even know it. Okay, there, I bottomed out. Now I'm going to give it a little snug, because I don't want to break it. Do not break that bolt. Anyways, I'm going to go in and eat, and we'll come back out and clean this face off. Clean up that diff cover, and we'll be good to go. What's Dad doing?
Looking.
Am I fixing the truck?
What's that?
That's the rear diff.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Cool is right.
Do we live in here?
Do we live in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dad pretty much does live down here. Alright, let's go eat, buddy. Watch your head, let's go.
Okay.
Watch your head.
Okay.
Let's clean as much off of this face plate, this differential plate, that we can. And then we're going to scrape all this RTV off with a razor, and then take the rest off with a grinder. Or a, not a grinder, but a drill with a wire wheel on it. Now let's do the same to the differential face. It looks a lot better. So it's high torque, vibration resistance, ideal for cast metal parts, sensor safe, which we don't really need, but what we do need is temperature up to 232 degrees. So that's good. All right, we're gonna take it and we're gonna put it in, and we might go around the holes too, but you don't have to. It's just good to get on the inside of every one of these holes, and make sure you get it on the face, so that it's not missing a seal over here. So let's see if this stuff's even any good still. Oh yeah, we still got some RTV. All right, we're gonna put a generous bead all the way around. You know what, it might not hurt. It won't hurt just to go around them. Let's just do it. Especially the bottom ones. So those were the top, I believe. I'm definitely overdoing it, but I don't want to have to pull this thing off again, so. Too much is actually better than not enough, I would say. Get a couple hanger bolts and put a couple in the top here. Where's the two at the top? Here's the two at the top right here. There's two. All right. So we're gonna try and get this on there as straight as possible at first. And I think that's the ratchet right there for the ones that we want. Those two hanger bolts. And let's get the rest of them all on there. So with this RTV, we're going to want to snug these up, but we're not going to tighten them. And we're going to let it set for about 8 hours before we actually come down and snug them right up. So that actually gives the RTV a chance to set a bit and become more of a gasket instead of just squeezing out, so we don't have to worry about losing it all or having any weak spots where it's gonna just piss out oil. So there, so we'll leave that like that, and then we will snug the hell out of it once those dry up. It is oil resistant, but I am not going to put oil in it until that dries, so we don't have any chance of seepage or any issues solidifying that RTV. The fill level will be right here, so you fill her up until she's coming out of the hole. And so yeah, let's get the tire back on. There, I just had to grab a rag. The rest of this stuff, let's clean off that face, clean off those drums, those drum pads actually is what they are. So that's one side. Don't want any kind of residue on these, or else, you know what, you won't stop. You won't be able to stop, because oil creates low friction and these guys function off of friction. So all right, the inside of this, that's, like I said, that's a drum brake, so might as well get it as clean as possible. one. Okay. Now these guys. Let's pull these bolts out of there. I hope that brake didn't compress too much. Ugh. If this caliper compressed, I'm gonna have to widen it out again, but it should be all right. Let's get that like that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we're good. There she goes. Alright. Get that first one started in there. Get this top one in. Like so. Should put a little bit of thread locker on that. I'm gonna go grab some. I'm gonna use some of the blue stuff on these because it's a little bit easier to get undone. Let's move some of these toys and these tools out of the way. Put a little bit of thread locker on that. Yeah, use the blue stuff because I want to be able to get it undone eventually. If you use the red stuff, it becomes almost impossible to get them off again. So, a little bit of blue. Ratchet. Let's give it a little snug with this here. A little snug with the Johnson bar. Don't want to break them. Clean some of this up so that we can see if it's still leaking or not. Always put your tire back on in a star pattern. Whether it's 6 or 5, you always do a star so that evenly distributes all the torque all the way around the wheel and you don't have a wheel that's sitting on like this. So I'm just getting them all bottomed out here, and then I'll go around and snug them all up. And then obviously once it's on the ground again, I will give them another torque to the proper 100 or 120, whatever they are. So again, star pattern. That one. That one. There we go. I read the bottle for the gasket that I put on, and it only took about an hour for it to set up, so it's still a little bit wet, but it says give it an hour, so it's been over an hour now for me. Just snug them up. I'm gonna do them in like a star pattern, or opposites rather. So I'm gonna go from here, there, 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 there. You get the idea. Now, the fill level. I already cut this off and pulled the tab off, but fill it up till it starts pouring out. Oh,
fill it up until it starts pouring out of that hole. See, let's take this lid off and put it on this one here. Oh, it's pretty close. I can touch it with my fingers, so it's definitely good enough. That's good enough for now. Throw the plug in. Drop it off these jacks, and we'll make sure it's not leaking by tomorrow.